So give it up. Woman on the move, Tishina Pettiford.
Thank you. No Beyonce music this time. I tried, ladies. So I'm excited. You guys excited? Yeah. This is the first women's training. Yeah. Give yourselves a round of applause. You know, the funny thing is, I take a look in 5 links and you look at some of the top leadership, and there's so many either husband and wife couples or just men that dominate in the leadership roles, right? And you take a look, and it's not too many women. You have myself, you have Lisa Cloud, Rosa Battle, but it's not that many women that's dominating in the business at the top. And so what I was thinking was, we need more women at the top. But what I realize is that we have issues that men just do not understand. And as much as, you know, we want them to understand, we just really can't, right? So I know it's some men in here that are trying to figure us out. They're trying to really get to know who we are so they can figure out this creature that's so complex. But we all know that we're superwomen, right? And I started thinking about the training that I wanted to do this weekend, and I created a product. So some of the Platinum Senior Vice Presidents, if you go to the supplies and the supplies area, you can get my DVD, or my CD. It's called Superwoman. And we're all superwomen, right? And it talks about the 7 key steps to take control of your business as a woman. And we all need that, don't we? So I'm excited today to talk to you ladies about how to really take ownership of your business, because I want to really focus in on things that I feel as though affect us more than the men. You guys agree with that? Yeah. That we have issues and things and emotions and all kinds of stuff? Yes. And so the training today is called Women on the Move. And what I want to do is I want to kind of bridge the gap of kind of talking to you about the difference between the roles of a woman and the roles of a business woman. And how many of you know the difference? Because it's a big difference, isn't it? And we have to take on so many roles as women, but I think the challenging thing in life sometimes is to figure out how to balance it all. So there's 4 questions that I hear a lot of times. I go from city to city, and so many women have questions because they want to know certain things about how to run their business as a female. And so these are the main things that I come across when I'm talking to women. The first thing is, how do I manage being a wife, mother, and businesswoman? You guys want to know, how do you manage it all, right, and balance it? The second thing is, how do I get men to take me serious? How many of you have that question? I mean, and I get this question all the time. And so I want to talk about some of the things that I faced as I was going through the business and dealing with men. You know, that other creature. And then I'm going to talk about how to become a powerful businesswoman. And the last question that I'm going to really answer is, how do I get my significant other to support me? How many of you want to know that? Okay, we're going to talk about that later. I'm still trying to figure that one out myself. So let's go over question 1. And it says, how do I manage being a wife, mother, and businesswoman? And first of all, I think that in life, when you're talking about managing everything, you have to know the order of who you serve. What do you have to do? Know the order of who you serve. So for me, you know, I talk about spirituality. You know, I go to church a lot, and that really helps me to connect and bring everything home. Going to church for me is almost like, you know, going to that Super Saturday or that Nationals. Do you guys ever feel like that? Do you go there and then they just start talking to you, but you feel like you can go the rest of your week? And I feel like a lot of times, because we don't connect with our spiritual self, and it's whoever you serve, that sometimes we get so confused in day-to-day life and things that are going on. But when you bring everything, and everything then becomes a thing of whoever you're serving, I think it kind of brings it home. Because you can relate even things that you find in church to your business, or wherever you're going, or, you know, wherever you're going to, you know, whether it's church or wherever you go. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll go to my place of worship and I'll find something and it relates right to 5 links. We all think that everything relates to 5 links, right? And so I'll use that information and I'll put it on my conference calls and I'll teach it to my leaders. And it really helps me to bring things home and bring it all around full circle of what I'm really supposed to be doing on this earth. Because I think it's more than just 5 links. How many of you agree with me on that? And I think we all have a job as women and men to really, in this business, I feel like we're going out and we're preaching to people about ways of changing their lives. And everybody doesn't understand that, do they? And so you have to really stay grounded through this business. So, when I talk about spirituality, being a wife, being a mother, and then my friends and my family members, kind of keeping all those things in perspective of understanding, okay, what am I supposed to do today? Because sometimes we get confused, don't we? And I don't know about you, but there's been plenty of times where I said, I don't know if I'm supposed to be going to this football game with my son, or am I supposed to be going to this PBR for this business meeting? Do you guys ever have that? Yes. And what I felt myself having to do is to really figure out how to allocate my time. And so when you know there's certain things that are going on in your life, whether if you have children, how many ladies in here have children? And they're in all kinds of sports and activities, aren't they? And so you really have to have this schedule. Think about if you think about an Oprah Winfrey. Do you think she has a schedule? Do you think she knows exactly where she's supposed to be at every time throughout the day? And is her schedule planned maybe for months? And for me, what I had to do was I really had to get to a point, and I'm not an organized person. I'm probably the least organized person you'll ever meet. But I realized that if I wasn't organized, then my life was like chaotic. Do you guys ever feel that way? And so what I had to do was I really had to say, okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to plan my meals out. And so sometimes what I would do, even my son's lunch, I would do a paper bag and I would do, okay, this is his chips and cookie for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and I'll just make the sandwich in the morning or at night. And then sometimes I would even plan meals where I say, okay, I know I'll make enough to last for 2 days. Do you guys ever do that? And then, you know how sometimes you'll go to the supermarket and you'll find yourself just there and you don't know what you need? So you wind up getting everything. And then you get home and you're like, I already have 2 or 3 of those. And so what I started doing is before I left out, I would start taking, I would look in the closet, look in the refrigerator and say, okay, these are the things I have. But then I say, okay, what are the meals that I'm going to plan for this week? And so these are the things that I'm going to get when I go so that I can really be really organized when it came to planning things for my family. Now, I'm completely blessed now because I'm in a situation where I decided to retire my mother. And that has been the biggest blessing because now she's taken, and I pay her very well. But she takes care of the meals in the house, she washes the clothes, and really, sometimes she picks my son up from school, so helping me with some of those responsibilities. And she even does the grocery shopping. How many of you would love somebody to do the grocery shopping for you? I learned a long time ago, and I watched someone I had a lot of respect for, and he said, you have to stop doing minimum wage work. Write that down. You have to stop doing what? So you have to get to a point in your life or in your business where, somebody else is cleaning your house besides you. Somebody else is washing the dishes. Somebody else is doing your chores. Somebody else is keeping on top of you. Because if you can free up some of just that time, it can give you more time to be able to run your business. Do you guys agree with me on that? And so you really have to have that balance. Not only talk about spiritual, we're talking about mental, physical, and financial. So when you talk about mental, Lisa talked earlier, sometimes you just need that time. How many of you ever just take time away sometimes? One thing that I learned from Lisa was that she said you have to have a family day. So a good day in this business to do a family day is on Fridays. Write that down. When's a good day? Fridays is a great day to do family day. And so what my son knows is that, this is the time that he has. So, I let him pick what it is that he wants to do during that time, whether it's the movies, You know, he likes going to Chuck E. Cheese, which I can't stand, with all them kids in there yelling, asking me for money. Can I have $1? I mean, but that's his thing, and he likes it. So, you know, you got to kind of give them that time, because we'll find ourselves working so hard as women, and then you got to make sure that you still give that attention and love to your children. So not only that, but physically keeping yourself up. And women, you know, we feel better when we look better. Isn't that right? And so if you don't feel good about the way you look, you have to really be able to change that. And that's really coming from just being disciplined. Because we all want to eat the pizza, the subs, the french fries, don't we? And I remember after I had my second son, I had picked up, I'm not going to say it out loud because they're videotaping this, but I had picked up a lot of weight. And I kept saying to myself, okay, now you have to get back in front of the room. You know, you have to start presenting. People are going to be looking at you. You have to lose this weight. And it was so hard to do because I was so used to being in a bad habit of eating. But I tell you one thing, when you get your mind set on something, it is nothing that you can't do. So I got a personal trainer, and I started working out almost 5 days a week. He changed my eating habits, and then I went on that Beyonce diet. Have you guys heard about that? You do. Listen, don't kill yourself, because this diet was the most, you had to basically not eat and just drink fluids, lemonade that you made up. And I mean, I lasted 5 days, I lost 8 pounds, and you really have to be mentally together to do this, because it will drive you crazy. People will tell you, you know, you'll feel energized. No, you won't, you're not eating. They say you won't get a headache. Yes, you will. And then they had a nerve to tell me that you won't even think about the food. I'm thinking to myself, every time I walk past, if I smell food, I wanted it. And so, but it was just a sacrifice of something I did at a time where I wanted to lose the weight. But we have to make sure that we keep ourselves physically together, because that's when we feel the best. We feel more confident when we're physically together, right, ladies? And so if you're not on a schedule or a diet, or if you're not in a habit of exercising, I really recommend it, because it'll make you feel better. It will give you more energy, but it'll make you feel more better about yourself. And that's what it's really about. And in this business, what I love about it is that it will change you in so many ways, won't it? You'll start discovering who you really are. You'll start discovering how many strengths you really have. And I think that write this down, 99% of this business is all mental. What is it? It's mental. So no matter what you're doing, everything that you do in life is usually all mental. It's what you tell yourself. It's that conversation that goes on in your mind when nobody else is around, or usually nobody else is listening. It's you talking to you. And so many times we'll defeat ourselves before we get started. So some of the things that I do to just help encourage myself, because if you don't encourage yourself, who else will? And it really starts with you. So sometimes, I mean, today I did a training, the executive director in ND training. And the funny thing is, ladies, I still get nervous. Isn't that crazy? But I'm sitting back there and I'm just pacing. You'll see me always just pacing, and I'm getting nervous, I'm pacing. And I had to talk to myself, okay, you're good, you can do this. You know what you're doing. I'm like psyching myself up. You know what you're doing. They want to hear you. You have something to say. They want to hear what you have to say. Tishina, you can do this, girl. What are you? Slow down. Get your heart from beating so fast. Your heart ever just beat really fast? And I'm sitting there trying to talk to myself. So just know that this is something that we all go through. And sometimes it really never goes away. But I think that's the fun and exciting part of life. Isn't it? Just to be a little bit nervous. Because if not, usually your life is just boring. Ain't nothing going on. I would rather a little bit of excitement and a little bit of nervousness than just nothing. You guys agree with me on that? Yeah. Now, another thing we always talk about is how to get it done. You know, how do you manage everything as a wife? Sometimes we have single women. Who are the single mothers in the house? Well, let me tell you a little bit about that, because I hear all the time, you know, well, I really can't build the business. I'm a single mom. I don't have anyone to watch my kids. How many of you ever said that? Let me tell you my story. When I was building this business in the beginning, even though I had a husband, he worked really late, and he wouldn't get home sometimes till like 8:30 or 9 o'clock. Now, what time do meetings start? 7. So what time do you have to leave the house? 6:30, right? And so there was plenty of times where I had either to one, I used to drive 30 to 40 minutes away from my house to drop him off at my parents' house or or my husband's parents' house, or I used to have to hire babysitters. They were, a lot of times if you find teenagers that work at the school or young kids that are looking for like a job, they'll watch your kids in the evening. Or sometimes I had to take them with me. Now, if you know my son, how many of you have met my son? Remember the one that was on the stage and he's like, yeah. Remember him? Oh, he's off the chain. So imagine taking him to a PBR. Okay, he can't sit still. He's all over the place, and I love him to death. He's a little light in my life, but he can be a big distraction. And kids can always be a distraction. We always talk about not having kids at the meeting, but it was a sacrifice, and sometimes I just had to do it. So what I did was I got creative, and I bought one of those little portable DVD players, and then I bought the headphones. So I would let him watch a movie while I was presenting. Now, this was the funny part. I'll be presenting, and he'll be back there watching the movie, and all of a sudden something will just burst out. Yeah! Get him! And I'm like, I'm going to kill him. When this is over, I told him to be quiet. But ladies, sometimes we have to make those sacrifices, because I remember so many times as I was growing through the business and, he said, well, Mommy, you're never home. And I used to feel so bad, and I would always ask Lisa, well, what do you do? And she said, Tishina, you have to make short-term sacrifices today for long-term goals tomorrow. And so because of those sacrifices I made in the beginning, now I can pop up on his little butt in the middle of the day in school. When he wants to go on go to Disney World or wherever he wants to go, it's not an issue. I don't have to check the bank account to see if we have enough money to go. When he asks for a toy, or if he needs something like learning to put him in a school or to further his education, now it's never an issue of whether I have the money. But it's all because I sacrificed years ago. Is because we live the life that we live today. And so many times I think that people miss that part. You see Oprah today. You see Kamora Lee Simmons today. You see these people as they are today, and you want to be there, but you don't see what they went through, and you're not willing to go through what they went through in order to get there. And women tell me so many times, well, I'm serious, but then there's always that but. It's that, but I don't have a babysitter, but, I couldn't get this done, but it's always a but in there. And I remember when I went to my first nationals, and William Fawcett said this to me. He said, and he didn't say it to me, but it felt like he was talking to me. But he was on the main stage, and he said, you can make excuses or you can make money, but you cannot do both. And one thing I understood in this business is that the more excuses you make, the farther behind you'll be. And so if you keep making excuses, what will eventually happen is you'll look up and you'll be in the same place that you were yesterday. And what it really takes is that it takes all these small sacrifices that you make that lead up to the revealing of your new life. And so I really encourage you, when you leave here and you go out and you're building your businesses, to try to put the excuses aside. This is the major reason why people don't succeed in life. It's not because you can't, it's because you won't. And you don't realize that the challenges that are being put in front of you are being put in front of you to stop you. You think that they're just there because they're just things that are in your life. Well, I think anytime a person is special, anytime they have anytime they have a destiny and somewhere they're trying to go or something they're trying to reach, it's going to get even harder and harder and harder. And I used to read so many books on successful people, and I would find out that, wow, this person was homeless. Wow, this person had bankruptcy and that they had to file more than one time. And I'm thinking to myself, well, if they've gone through the challenges and look what they are today, well, then I need more challenges. Because then if I don't have challenges, that means I'm not going anywhere. So the harder it is, that means the better it will get. And so the more things that would come into my life, the more challenges that I would have, you know what, I wouldn't get all upset about it. I would just say, you know what, it's about to get good. And I started getting excited because I started changing the way I thought. And instead of letting those things depress me and get me down, it motivated me. It motivated me to be a better person. It motivated me to figure it out. Oh, you think this is going to stop me? I'm talking to myself. I ain't even talking to nobody else. Oh, you think this is going to stop me? I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to make a way. And that's the attitude you have to have, because if you don't, ladies, we won't have more lady SVPs and PSVPs. We really need more at the top. So you got to figure out a way to prioritize these schedules. Get your family on board with your vision. And this is important. And I don't know what your family situation is like, but if your family's on board, you have to really let them know that, listen, this is something I'm serious about, and I might need you to babysit. I might need you to help me out. I might need you to take them maybe these days during the week. Maybe you can take them to some practices and I can take them to some practices. But you got to figure this thing out, and you got to get your family on board, because the more people you have supporting you, because you're going to need help. No one woman or man gets there alone. When you see the SVPs on Saturday, you're going to see some people crying. You're going to see some people that are really emotional because they understand that it's a hard road to the top. And in order to get there, you're going to need support. So figure out who those people are in your lives that can really help you and get you through this tough time, because you're about to have a tough time. You don't have good times without tough times. Do you guys understand that? The second question is, how do I get men to take me serious? How to communicate with men. You want to start with dressing for success. Because a lot of that has to do with, think about it. If you have club gear on and you're talking to a man about getting into the business, do you think he's going to take you serious? But what about if you have that powerful suit on or that powerful dress and you're about your business? See, I think the biggest problem and the reason why women can't relate to men is because you're doing it all wrong. You have to understand, these men are simple creatures. Don't let them overpower you. I think it's really just about your attitude, because this is the thing. And I'm going to tell you some of the problems I had as I was going through the business. Men, if you're a lady, they want to try to talk to you before they come in, right? And so you're trying to figure out, okay, am I going to give him a little bit of play and talk to him for a second and just maybe be nice to him so that he can sign in? But let me tell you what happens. That fool don't ever sign in. Or then he comes in and then he does nothing, because the reasons are all wrong. And so if you know that could be the result, this is the approach that I take, and I tell them this all the time. Listen, I'm about my business. So if you want to talk business, then we can talk business. And if not, then we don't need to talk. And I'm telling you, he will respect that more than he will respect anything else. So you got to really become firm. Get that backbone. And you know what it is? It's really about, in the beginning, you just want that IMR. Right? But trust me, you don't want that IMR. You have to really understand with men and women that we're different, and that's okay. So there's times in my business where I'm talking to the man, and I could be a PSVP. I know this business left and right. But this man who maybe has had success in other areas of his life has an ego. But you know what? That's okay. He can have his ego. And you know what? As a woman, I will let this man have his ego. But when it's all said and done, do I know what I'm talking about? And are you going to listen? Now, I'm going to listen to you, and I'm going to give you the respect that you deserve as a man if he has shown me respect, and if he has this, he knows everything kind of attitude. And I'll sit back and I'll just watch. I will not overpower the situation, even though I know I can. I know I can overtalk him, but I won't. Let his little ego be fed, and I'll sit back and I'll just watch, and I'll just listen. And then at the end, I say, you know what? That sounds great. You're obviously someone that can really blow this business away. Are you ready to sign? You have the money. I know you do. This should be nothing for you. Where's your credit card? Did I play into his ego? And so you have to know times when to be, aggressive and when times to be a little bit passive and just let that man and his ego, just let it go. A man will see you as a leader if you conduct yourself as a leader. We all know that, right? Not only that, learn how to play your part as a woman. And I kind of just talked about that, just learning the roles of women and men. And so many times we don't know when to be dominant, when to be submissive. But you got to go by the person. You got to go by the man, the individual, because all men are different. Some of them aren't, they're not all like that. Some of them are very nice. And if that's the case, then be nice with him. Don't go bite his head off. But really learn how to play the roles between men and women. And always be upfront and what? Honest. Now, let's talk about how do I become this powerful businesswoman? All women can be a superwoman, but you have to ask yourself, can I handle the challenge? And what is a superwoman? And in my opinion, when I think about a superwoman, I think about a woman that can do everything. This woman can cook dinner. And I remember going through this business and waking up, getting dressed, getting the kids dressed, rushing them off to school, then going to work, then preparing meals, then doing homework, then getting everything ready for my business, making phone calls, doing the meeting, coming home, giving them a bath. Do you guys know this role? Yes. But you have to be able to manage everything. And so when you talk about a superwoman, I think it's the woman that shows strength in all areas. So her business is thriving. Her personal life is thriving. Her children are thriving. She's able to manage it all. Aren't you ladies ready to be superwomen? Yes. But you have to learn how to handle your emotions. And this is a big one. In all areas of your life, because I see so many women so many times. And I have some young women that I'm working with, and they call them the emotional crew. Right? They call them team emotion. And it's so funny because they're emotional because they're women. And we have that problem, don't we, ladies? And so many times things will be going on in your business and you're ready to fuss somebody out because they didn't do something the way you wanted them to do it. Or you're ready to just, get really upset when things don't go our way. And so many times I have to sit back and I have to take the emotions out of it and I have to consider it business. Because sometimes we'll let, family members or whoever come into our business, and then we're so worried about what they think, or I can't help them, and I don't know what to do with them. And then you're thinking about it this is what? Emotions. Is it business? Because if it was business, then are they doing what they're supposed to do in their business? So you got to learn how to take that emotional side out of your business, because what happens is when your emotions make decisions instead of making a business decision, you make the wrong decisions. You can wind up saying, I ain't calling her back. She getting on my nerves, right? I ain't calling her back. I told her to make sure she had 10 people at that PBR. I got there, it was 1. She ain't serious. And this is an emotional decision. This is not a business decision. Because in business, you need that IMR. You need their support. You need them in your business, and you have to figure out you're in a people business. You're going to deal with so many people and situations. You're going to have people, and if you do this long enough, you'll have people who will love you and will hate you. You will have people that will smile in your face and talk about you behind your back. And I hear it all the time, and the thing is, guess what? Do you think I care? I have people tell me stuff, and I'm like, that sounds nice, and I'll get there, and I'll see them, I'll give them a hug, and they say, can you help me with my business? And I could take that emotional role and say, I heard you was just talking about me. I could go there, couldn't I? But you know what? I don't. And you know what I say? I said, absolutely. What is it that you need? because it's not about my emotions, it's about business. And you have to learn how to take the emotions out, because you'll wind up killing your business if you don't. You need to learn how to treat your business like the multi-million-dollar business that it is. And what that really means, ladies, is that we have to learn as women how to be professional about everything. From your schedules, to planning your life, to making sure you show up to the events that you plan, to make sure that you're doing a good event, but treating it like a true multi-million-dollar business. Think about it. If you were running a multi-million-dollar business, would you only do it some days? Or would you do it every day? If you were running a multi-million-dollar business, would you maybe have things planned on your schedule? Would you find things? Would you be creative on how to expand your business? Because some of you are sitting in a position where your business is at a halt. It hasn't moved and expanded moving forward. But this is the problem, because you're not treating it like a multi-million-dollar business. You haven't gotten creative enough to figure out how to change your business. You know, sometimes I'll sit down and I'll put a plan together. And I've tried so many things with my business to see, okay, how can I take it to that next level? Okay, if this is not working, what can I do differently? But because I take my business so serious, I look at, okay, how much money am I producing? How many people do I need to bring in to make a certain income? And this is treating it like a what? A business. And so when you really sit down and you start evaluating, you know, am I having the success that I would like to have? And then sometimes what I'll do is I'll ask myself, well, what are the reasons that I'm not having success? And you got to be honest with yourself. You know, you can't lie to yourself, can you? Sometimes what you really need to do is not even ask yourself, you need to ask somebody else. Or ask me, because I ain't going to lie to you. But you really need to know, someone whoever knows you, knows how you do business, you really just need to be able to ask them, what is it that I'm doing wrong? Because this really will help you. And if you sit down with yourself and be honest, you'll fix the things that are wrong to make them right so your business can move to the next level. Now, this is the last one. How do I get my significant other to support me? And we all want to know that, right, ladies? How many of you are doing the business with your significant others? Okay, not a bad hand. How many of you have a problem getting your significant others to support you? Anybody? You can be honest. Does anybody have that problem? Okay. Okay, so the slides are a little off, but first you need to understand that in order for any woman to be happy, she would need 4 men in her life. Because not one man is going to make any of you happy. So let's go over the 4 men. And you can't see it, so I'm just going to tell you. The first man is an ugly man. I'm sorry, no, the first man is an old man. Why do you need an old man, ladies? Because you know he ain't going nowhere. He's going to be home in the house. Usually if he's older, he's more established, so he has the money, right? So he's just going to be there for you. He ain't going nowhere. You ain't got to worry about him ever leaving. And then you need the ugly man. That ain't right. Why do you need the ugly man? Let me tell you why. Because he's going to take the trash out. He'll paint your house. He'll do your errands. He'll go to the store. He'll rub your feet. He'll tell you how beautiful you are. And he can't even believe somebody like you is with somebody like him. Now, the third one is the one I love. Every woman needs a what? Mandingo. Ooh, and we all know what he's there for. I think that's self-explanatory, right? And then we need that gay friend. Why do you need the gay friend? I'm going to get me one of these. You need the gay friend because you need somebody to talk to about that old man, that ugly man, and that mandingo. Woo! So if you get all 4 of them, then you good. Okay. And In order to get the support from your other half, you have to make him feel like he's in control of the situation. Women, we are all very smart. And we all know that we're smarter than them. Right? They know it too. And so what happens is you know how to get that person to do things that you want them to do without saying that you want them to do it. Okay? And so what you have to figure out is how to get them to support you without you saying, support me. You know, it would be really nice. I would just really love it if you know, the trash is piling up. It'd be so nice of you if you just walk downstairs and just took it out. Instead of saying, if you don't go down there and take that trash out, which way is going to get a better response? The first one, right? Then the third thing is understanding that everything happens for a reason. Good or bad, it's there to make you better, not bitter. I'm going to say this one again. Third, understand that everything happens for a reason. Good or bad, it's there to make you what? Better, not bitter. And as I was growing through my business, I really couldn't understand why my husband never saw the business. And I was like, is it just me? Am I the only crazy one that just really understands that this is a great opportunity? And I couldn't understand it. And over time, what I had to figure out was that it wasn't for me to understand. It was just for me to know that this was my blessing. This was what I was supposed to do. There was a story that I heard in church about 2 Sundays ago, and they were talking about this man. And he lived in Hampton, Virginia, but he was driving all the way up to Maryland for his job. And he worked at the radio station. And at the radio station, he was a disc jockey. And what happened is he went into work one day and found out that they had reorganized everything. Somebody had bought the radio station, and they completely changed, from like jazz to maybe gospel. And they let him go. And he was just distraught. He went months of not having a job, trying to figure out how he was going to pay bills, what it was that he was going to do. And he was talking to his pastor and saying, I just really don't understand what's going on. I can't find a job. I lost that one job. I'm down in Hampton. I'm still coming back up to Maryland, but I just really don't know what to do. And then after a few months had went by, he interviewed for a job at the Hampton University radio station. Well, not only did he get the job, but instead of being a disc jockey, he wound up getting a general manager position. And not only did he get the position and the income, but they wound up paying him $5,000 more than what he thought they were going to pay him. And that story really made me understand is that sometimes in life we go through a lot of things, don't we, ladies? And I don't understand why we go through the things that we go through, but only thing that I can take from it is this, is that it's because you have no idea what's in store for you. And sometimes things are taken away so that you can get something even better. And it's whether it's good or bad, it's not to make you bitter, it's to make you better. We have a job, ladies, and that job is for us to dominate in this company. We have to be able to make it to the top, and I want all of you to have success. I want to see more women names being called and being taken down to the stage. I can't wait. Can you wait? Have you thought about that theme song? Have you thought about that dress or that hair? You got to have something, right? And so I'm so excited that they let me actually put this special training together for you ladies. I hope that you got something out of it, and I hope to see you all at the top. Hold on. One more thing. I'm sorry. Lisa, bring it up. We have how many of you liked the training today? Did you like it? Well, the Platinum Ladies and Fivelings have decided to get together, and we're going to be putting together a Platinum Ladies event. Woo! You're going to have myself. You're going to have Miss Lisa Cloud, Pasha Carter, Sharice Richards, Donna Wooler. We're all going to be getting together for this big event that's coming up when? February 5th through 7th, and it's going to be in Maryland. And so before you leave, pre-registration now. If you get the pre-registration, it's only $99 for a 3-day event. And so before you leave, please come pick one of these up because we're going to have an amazing weekend. We're going to be really empowering you, teaching you all kind of skills and strategies of what it is and what it means to be a woman in this business. I'm excited. Are you guys excited? We have so many fun activities planned for you guys. I mean, we're going to really have fun. It's about pampering ourselves. It's about growing together, learning together, and really figuring out as women how to dominate within this business. So make sure before you leave that you come down and you get your pre-registration form. And also, if you would like to get, I have a CD for the women. It's called Superwoman, the 7 key steps to take control of your business as a woman. We want to thank you guys for coming. Don't forget your flyers for the event. Oh, okay. We're gonna put the flyers outside so when you leave out that you can get the flyers at the door. Okay.
Tishina Pettiford, everybody.